I just want to make sure I don't hit a pedestrian.
Lap, 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 lap. Ah. You guys coming? Don't be scared.
This is California now.
It's not every day you meet someone who owns a town.
It's always been junk, but treasure to those who collect it.
Something struck a chord with Glenn Bell, and he decided he was going to start making that.
Hi, I'm Josh Meyers, and today we're going to be talking about one of America's most beloved highways. And of all our highways, it's probably the one you're most likely going to go to if you're looking to get your kicks. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Route 66. And in 2026, this road turns 100 years old, the Mother Road. So what better way to celebrate than by getting in your car and taking a little drive? Our journey starts here at the iconic Roy's Motel and Café in Amboy. And from the desert all the way to the Pacific Ocean, we will be meeting with passionate locals, uncovering hidden gems, and learning about the stories that makes California's stretch of the Mother Road unforgettable. So gear up, buckle in for this very special episode. This is California Now. So here we are in Amboy, California, and where is that for people that don't know?
Yeah, it seems like we're in the middle of nowhere, right?
It does, it certainly does.
We're off of National Trails Highway, and pretty much it's the by route that comes off of the 40 freeway. So if you get off on Ludlow and Kell Baker, we're in the middle of that, or it's around an hour and a half north of Palm Springs.
Okay, it's not every day you meet someone who owns a town. I'm a little intimidated. But I know that this started out as your father's passion project. How did this all get started?
My dad didn't even know about the town prior to buying it. It was just the funny part about it, actually. So his good friend told him about the property and said it was up for sale and that you had to buy it. It's a famous town. And once he heard about it, he was like, well, who do you know that actually owns a town? And that was kind of his reasoning and his publicity statement to everybody. I remember when he first came to the house, this was 2005 that he was considering it.
Mm-hmm.
And so 2005, I was only 12 years old. So I remember he came into the room and he says, Kyle, I'm thinking about buying a town. And I didn't even know what that means.
Nobody
or
does.
what that meant, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him why. And he goes, well, who else do you know that owns a town?
Yeah.
So that's just the kind of guy he was.
Was the fact that this place is on Route 66, was that a draw for your dad?
That's part of the biggest reason. It is actually one of the reasons why Bessie Burris sold it to my dad, because she was already in her early 90s. So I don't think it was a money thing for her. But my dad said that I'm not going to tear this place down. I'm going to restore it.
Uh-huh.
And I promised that to you. And so he actually got it cheaper than some other bidders that were probably going to tear it down, maybe make a new gas station.
Yeah.
And she kind of believed in it. And unfortunately, she passed like a few years after.
Uh-huh.
But we've still taken up that mantle of what my dad promised. And, you know, we continue to, you know, make that dream come true.
Before your father bought it from this woman, like how did this start?
This town was first settled in 1858.
Okay.
So it goes way back. It was really a first set of stations for the railroad being that are still in use today.
Yeah.
And they named them alphabetically. So Amboy, and then you'd have, you know, B, C, D. So we were the first set of them in the Mojave Desert.
Uh-huh.
Roy's Motel and Café wasn't open until 1938. So it was a kind of a long time that passed through there. After Roy's became popular, you know, they started lobby, like a car station. You know, you have the place to stay, the cafe to eat.
Yep.
The next thing in 1959, that's when they erected the sign.
Okay.
This lobby and the Roy sign, and then it just like that's became super known for in this town.
I mean, it's so busy out here right now. It's so awesome. When you tell people now that you own a town, what's the reaction to that?
It's kind of similar exactly how you started the interview, right? Especially because it's funny, my dad bought it. It's like, you know, he's 40 years older than me, right? He had me at 42, but it's funnier now if I say it because I'm like even younger.
Right.
Right. So I think it draws a story, you know,
Uh-huh.
and I think that's the most fun thing about this town.
Yeah, it's a pretty good flex to say I own a town. I'm pretty confident I will never be able to say that no matter what happens to me. Unless you're looking to sell, maybe I'll come out here to Amboy. But
maybe if it gets too crazy out here. No, I think it's too difficult. With next year being the 100th year anniversary for Route 66, we're trying to spark up a lot of, you know, demand for next year for tourism.
Sure.
You know, so we're trying to get more involved, even with more networks, more tour agencies, and trying to get the word out, especially to younger people, right?
Now, you're a motel and cafe, and the motel is not currently a motel.
Mhm.
Cafe, not currently a cafe.
Yeah.
But you are a gas station. You're an active gas station.
Yes.
Do you have plans to maybe restoring the motel? Are you going to get these things back up and running?
Yeah, you know, it's funny when I talk to people, when I'm here, every single question is directed to those two things. One of those cottages opening again, and then when are you opening the cafe again? And it's just all the permitting that we got to get done. Right now, we're working on all the infrastructure and all the stuff that we need to get done underneath the ground.
Gotcha.
Like everything was so old before, so that we had to redo all the septic systems. We're getting backup generators for when the power gets cut off.
But as someone who owns the town, can't you write the permits?
I wish. Yeah, we're under San Bernardino County's law. So,
okay.
Yeah, unincorporated community, right? So,
gotcha. Who comes here? Who are all these people that are coming? Do locals come here, or is it people that are just sort of fascinated and have this love of Route 66?
Yeah, so sporadically you'll see different types of people, right? If they are local, they've been here like a lot of times. They're not here stopping by and doing the whole tour again. They've passed by this area.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'll get convoys of people either heading out, like off-roading people, you know, bikers. You have car clubs coming out through here. And then if they're tourists, you either sometimes see tour buses of international tours that come here through, or just families riding solo. They're coming down, and California is their last stop before headed to Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
They have to stop at Roy's.
Got to.
So that's the best part. The best part is actually seeing where everyone's from, because you don't see a lot of people that are just around town and local. Because if they are hanging around, you'll hear some like craziest stories, right? Like, oh, I came all the way from Germany just to see this sign on this specific night.
Yeah.
Because I need to take a picture when the full moon is going to be at this spot. And so he planned it for years. And I was just like, it means so much to them, right? And I'm just here on another average weekend learning about some guy that lives across the world saying, that this is the most amazing place ever been.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I think I do this still, because that's the most like rewarding part, I would say.
Certainly, I see a lot of motorcycles rolling through here. I feel like that's just part of the Route 66.
Yeah, I think that's part of why they like this stretch, because Route 66, if you see this road, is like a perfect 6-mile stretch. And that's actually the cool part about coming to Amboy at night from the east side. You can actually see the neon sign on from 6 miles away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you can't when you're coming from this side, but when you come from the east, you can see the neon signs from 6 miles away.
In the cafe, I noticed you have a lot of sort of like nostalgia-based items. Like there's a soda station that's not your average. You're not just getting a Coca-Cola in there.
Yeah, we actually have an entire fridge full of nice craft sodas, all real sugar, and a lot of them were like the old sodas that you'd find like decades ago.
Yeah, I feel like that's appropriate to the location. So bravo on that. I mean, you've had a lot of cool events here in the past. What have you done out here on that respect?
Yeah, recently we had the first annual car show in Amboy. It was really stressful. We only planned it for a month, but we ended up getting 200 cars out here. So we're thinking the second annual, being 100th anniversary of Route 66, we're thinking like, man, we're trying to double it next year. But yeah, we've done other cool events here. I think something that I've always wanted to do is something that's more related to music. I mean, we had music at our car show, but maybe something like a concert. But we've done really cool events. Like we did a rally one time where like an all-female rally group came, and they use us as a destination checkpoint for this off-roading, and so that's sometimes really fun. But yeah, this car show is what we're really excited for next year.
And then this sign's been in so many movies and TV shows. I feel like maybe you could have like set up a screen and screen movies that have featured this sign.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we did.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So in our last car show, we did that. So we're gonna do it again.
What else are you looking at in the future for the future of Amboy and the future of Roy's?
The cafe is a big one. My dad really wanted the cafe to be open because he said, "Well, if you have a motel open, where are they gonna eat at?" I mean, I got a gas station convenience store, but you kind of have to have hand in hand both.
Yeah.
But I do want this place to eventually be something that is a place where a lot of people can like commune and do a really fun event. I know I brought up the car show, but even events like that. And I do want to bring Roy's, specifically in Route 66, more into the public eye by doing more of these things like commercial shoots or more movies, blockbuster movies, or like being in TV shows. We have done a couple, throughout the time, or we've done like a lot of like apparel shoots and stuff. And that just makes it fun. I think it brings a lot of eye and attraction, and I think it makes people learn about Route 66 and more in its significance. Yeah.
I can't help but notice this sort of geological formation off in the distance. What is that?
That's Amboy Crater right there. Yeah, an extinct volcano.
Okay.
Extinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 miles away.
That looks cool. We might have to go check
National
that out.
Historic Monument, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This is just incredible. What a great spot. And I wish you all the success in the world with all the renovations. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one.
It wouldn't be a road trip without a little detour. And it wouldn't be a California detour without a little intrigue. And this next location certainly has that. We're making our way to the Amboy Crater. It's massive, it's practically ancient, and it makes for a pretty scenic out and back hike of 3.5 miles. So let's get to it. Now, before the Amboy Crater was a crater, it was a volcano, and we're currently standing on what was the top of the cone of that volcano. But we're lucky because it's dormant right now. Although, if it was going to erupt, it'd be a pretty cool way to go. But that's not gonna happen, because the last time it erupted was about 10,000 years ago. And when it did, it was so powerful, it sent lava over a 24 square mile area, and now there's just this incredible lava field filled with collapsed lava tubes and spatter cones. And it's just an otherworldly landscape, and it's really cool. Plus, you get to be on top of a volcano or inside of a volcano, which I had never done before just now, and I like it. I like it a lot. Always feels good to stretch your legs when you're out on a road trip, and boy, oh boy, did Amboy Crater deliver on that front. But Kyle back at Roy's says he's got a special treat for us, so we're gonna go check out and see what he's got in store. Well, this feels special. Kyle has given me the honors of turning on the light. If you're about 100 miles west of Roy's on the original Route 66 and the wind is whipping, you might be treated to a symphony of sorts. That symphony is the clinking and tinkling of about 30,000 glass bottles, give or take a few. Get a little closer and you'll find out that that sound is coming from a forest of colorful trees in the middle of the desert. We're here at Elmer's Bottle Tree Ranch. This quirky roadside attraction was created by welder and scrap material artist Elmer Long some 20 years ago. Today we're going to be speaking to his son Elliot, who has taken over the ranch, carrying on what his dad created. Elliot, this place is amazing. Thank you for having us. Can you tell us how this all got started? Like it started with a bunch of junk?
It's always been junk, but treasure to those who collect it.
Yeah.
My dad collected with his dad in the 50s and the 60s. Soon as I could walk, my dad had me in a car in these mountains. We didn't collect bottles. That was kind of my grandpa's deal. When my grandpa got Alzheimer's, we went down there and took the bottle collection because otherwise it was just going to go. We kept it here on site for years, just kind of doing nothing with it. And then one day he put up a bottle tree. That's the very first tree he ever built. The one that looks like a cactus.
I mean, he was smart to sort of put it in the corner of the property.
For him, it was just a decoration. He literally just wanted one decoration. I mean, this one doesn't even have a top on it. He's just like, I'm going to put some bottles up here.
Yeah, it fits with the environment.
It bugged me that he never built too many more that had the actual cactus feel to it.
Uh-huh.
I think it was a lot of work to make the cactus one. These ones were a lot easier to just weld individual spikes.
Well, if you're going to build a whole forest, I can appreciate wanting it to be a little bit easier to build your trees.
somebody took a picture of it. And then like 10 minutes later, somebody else took a picture and he got that light bulb.
Yeah.
And then long story short, he retired early from the plant, built a few hundred of these things, and yeah.
That's amazing. You grew up here, you said
Yep.
your bus stop was
Yep.
right across the street?
I drove the Jeep to high school.
The Jeep that's over here?
Yeah,
And
it didn't just go to the mountains. We drove it to high school. I think both me and my younger brother drove it. This is a 1946 Willys Jeep. We bought this for $500 at A1 Rentals. So much junk was put back here and brought home.
Yeah.
It would still run. Give me a couple hours and a battery, it would probably still run.
Wow.
When he started the trees, this ran. But we had a carburetor problem and he kept building the damn bottle trees. And then one day he had to make the decision, and that was it. He left it here and it's become like an iconic part of the ranch.
Yeah?
I get a lot of people that take pictures on it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's
Right.
such a cool car in front of the sign at Roy's Motel, and I feel like this is your
Yeah.
version of that. How old were you when your dad started the Bottle Tree Farm?
I was about 21, 22.
And what did you think?
I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
All right.
If he would still be alive now, there'd probably be a bottle tree house here.
Yeah.
Like he really was into it. That was his passion.
And was there ever a moment when he started expanding and getting bigger and bigger when you were like, Dad, I think we're good? Or were you
Oh, no.
cheering him on the whole way?
He got picked up in a limo one time by some amateur filmmakers and they took him to a party in Hollywood. All I could think of was that he was born to do that. He had so much fun. Like,
that's great.
and he'd make a big deal. I'm going to buy a new shirt. Like,
And riding in a limo, no less.
yeah, no, he enjoyed it. The privacy aspects, he didn't like that.
Yeah.
We lost privacy completely. I mean, people would wander everywhere all hours of the night. And even though I didn't live here, we came home for every holiday. My mom and dad still lived here. You'd be eating Thanksgiving dinner and a family of Chinese tourists would walk in. And not just a small one, they'd have gotten off a bus. And my dad would invite them in and feed them and say, here's our bathroom. And my mom would just sit there, just, dealing with it.
Yeah.
We had a solid decade of that where every holiday had at least one stranger eating with us.
He built one tree and it turned into 2 trees and it turned into more and more. How long did it take to build this forest?
He started in the late 90s. The 2000s is kind of when it ramped up a lot because that's when the local papers noticed he existed.
And then to complete what he has built here?
Yeah. He had one bottle tree left when he passed away. It was in the backyard, almost done. And he had a 600-pound bell. Looked like a Liberty Bell. And he was going to put that up. But he didn't make it. I had one of my very close friends take that. And somewhere in an undisclosed neighborhood in North Long Beach, the final bottle tree rests. And it's been built. My friend taught himself to weld. And that bell rings every New Year's Eve. I mean, it's pretty cool. You can hear it from a long ways away.
That's amazing. If a bottle tree falls on the ranch and there's no one here,
somebody's going to hear it. It's loud.
yeah, someone is going to hear it. And when did you take over the ranch?
I took over after his death in 2019.
Okay. And I read that you've cleaned up some areas that maybe needed some tidying, and then have you added anything since then?
We've added very small things. Right now it's maintenance and structure integrity. I mean, these things right here, they wobble.
Yeah.
Eventually, some of the other ones are going to fall. And so on the other side, we already started bracing it to make sure that they're all stable.
Yeah.
So we're doing things like that. But I've got my guest book. We've got a giant fountain we're building. Dad always wanted a fountain, but it's the desert. It's hard to get fountains to work out here forever. So we're just going to build one with the expectation that it's going to break. And that's part of the plan.
Well, that's a good plan. I feel like you won't be proven wrong in that case.
Yeah.
So how many trees are actually on site?
No earthly idea.
No idea.
No.
What about how many bottles?
Even less of an idea.
If you had to
I make up numbers for people, but I have no idea.
Well, make up some numbers
20,
for
30,000 bottles?
30,000 bottles?
8,700 trees?
And are there any stories behind these bottles?
The trees themselves and what's on top all has a story. Right there, that little insulator, this used to house a machine gun. A Bren machine gun from Britain.
Oh, wow. Come on, what's going on here?
He found this in an old mining camp, not even sure if it was a test dummy or if it was part of just a display somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Thought it looked cool, brought it home. I mean, that's the story of all of our junk. Look at it, it's cool.
And are you sure that anything that might explode has been deactivated at this
The way
point?
to find out is to hit it with a hammer.
I'm gonna let you do that some other day, ideally. These springs here, was that a bed anyone you knew ever slept on?
Yeah,
Really?
it was his.
That was his bed?
Not only does it have his bed, somewhere up here, he's got my grandmother's bed that she used in college. He's got her mirror that she bought secondhand in the 30s. It's all up there. The very first treasure he ever found is a rake. It's just a crappy rake with a wooden handle, but he found it when he was 7 years old, and he kept it the whole time.
This train set up here, I don't know if that was yours or...
That was my dad's
Okay.
when he was a little boy. That was probably from the late 40s. I used to play with that when I was a kid.
Do you have any favorite trees, or is there a special tree to you?
Definitely. There's favorite trees. This one right here, the stoplight tree,
Uh-huh.
this was one of the first trees that he realized he had to shore up. And so this sucker is solid. It'll never fall. But it's tall. It's got that huge stoplight that he actually paid money for. He went to an antique store and said, I want this stoplight. And they're like, $600. And he's like, pshaw. So he walks out, and then the guy comes chasing after him because somebody else recognized him. Like, that's Elmer from the Bottle Tree Ranch.
Right.
Gave it to him for $50.
Wow. So I'm sure weather is an issue and probably limits the number of people that come on certain days. What's the best time of year to come to the Bottle Ranch?
March, April. Like,
Okay.
right when spring hits, the weather is still crisp all day long. It doesn't heat up until 4 or 5. And then your nights are just beautiful.
Yeah.
And then obviously right about now. Like,
Right.
this is a good time of year.
Yeah.
You don't have the cool blooming of spring and all the birds that come around and all the critters, but it's still real nice.
Are there times when the wind comes through and catches bottles and you get that whistle that you get off the top of a bottle?
Between the bottle whistles, the wind spinners, and this sound,
Uh-huh.
when the wind hits, sometimes you won't be able to hear me this close.
Oh, wow.
It gets deafening. I first took my daughter here when she was about 2, and it was almost immediate that she wanted to get out of here. She couldn't really, too much overload.
Entry into the Bottle Tree Ranch is absolutely free,
Always been free.
Always free. And
Yeah.
is it always open? Do you need to book ahead? Can you show up anytime?
Nope. If you're going to bring 50 people, let me know and I'll give you extra special treatment, but it's still free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, we showed up pretty early this morning, and then since then, a lot of people have been coming here. I feel like there were a lot of international people, and so who comes?
The world. I mean, really the world. Just today alone, Croatia, the UK, New Zealand, France, that's just today.
Yeah,
Last night, I couldn't even remember. And we get about 30,000 people a year.
30,000.
Yeah, I mean, they don't stop coming ever.
And you're right here on Route 66, so I imagine you get a lot of people that come through that are just Route 66 road trippers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People come from Chicago doing the route, or they'll fly into Vegas just to gamble and then go to Santa Monica.
Uh-huh.
We get the best of both worlds here because we're so close to LA and Vegas.
Yep.
We get a lot of day trippers. We get a lot of locals. It's a working road, so there's people always coming by.
And of course, in 2026, Route 66 turns 100 years old. Any special things that are going to be happening here? Anything you anticipate?
Yes and no. I mean,
Okay.
that makes me feel old. I mean, it's
Well,
100
everything's
years
starting to
old,
make me feel old,
and
so
we've been here for 48 of it. Well, 54 if you think about when they bought it.
yeah.
The Bottle Tree Ranch has been around for over 25 years, so that's a big percentage of the lifetime of this highway. But yeah, I'm working on building a guest book right now for that Centennial stuff. People have asked for a guest book and a gift shop and stuff like that forever.
Yeah.
It's every day I get that question, but the guest book is something the dad wanted to do. I'm trying to put myself online more and get with the program.
Yeah.
And so the Centennial is exciting in that sense that everybody's going to be starting and finishing. And those are the ones I love talking to the most. Flying from another country to drive the entire stretch of road of another country, it amazes me.
Yeah, it's like 2,500 miles. And this is such an iconic road, and this is such an iconic stop. Once you're here, it really does feel like you're in a forest. It's really something else. Thank you so much for for having us. And
Thanks for
yeah,
coming.
thank you for the tour. And this is incredible. I love it so much.
Thank you.
Congrats to your dad and congrats to you for
Appreciate it.
carrying on the
Thank you.
tradition. Absolutely. For the next leg of our journey, we're driving an hour southwest to the town of San Bernardino, home to some very popular stops along Route 66. Our stop, however, is to a little cafe that made a very big impact on fast food history and to the community of San Bernardino itself. We're here at Mitla Café. Founded by Lucia Rodriguez 88 years ago, this place continues to serve some of the best Mexican comfort food around, and it is still a total family affair. I'm going to be sitting down with Michael Montano, who's Lucia's grandson and the current co-owner of Mitla Café, and he's going to tell me all about this incredible restaurant. So this is the Mitla Café. It probably wouldn't exist without your family, and it wouldn't be what it is today without your family. As I understand it, it all started in sort of Western Mexico long ago. Can you talk to me about the history of this place?
Yeah, my grandmother and grandfather were born in Tepatitlan, Jalisco. So long way from here.
Sure.
They came up to San Bernardino in the early 1930s, around the time of the Depression, for work. My grandfather had a job with the railroad. And so that was economic prosperity, promises of better things. And so they brought their family, 3 young children and a baby at the time, and came all the way to the United States. It wasn't, the land of milk and honey yet, right?
Yeah.
It was coming for a promise of better things. And my grandmother, she understood what it was like to be hungry, growing up with not a lot back home. She wanted to be able to provide for her kids. And so one of the first things she thought of is like, I have some good recipes. I can make some food. I can share my food with others and, maybe put a little bit of money in the pocket and help the family. It became popular. It's just essentially a taco stand on the corner, and then it became a lunch counter. And then from a lunch counter, it became what we're sitting in today. This is the add-on that was done in somewhere around World War II. We're on the original Route 66. We're on the last stretch coming out of the desert before you head west to Los Angeles. And so for those travelers who've been on the road for a while, like yourself, looking for a spot to eat and somewhere to rest and somewhere just to kind of refuel, this is it. There was a service station across the street. They could get their car gassed up. They could come here and eat. And so along with that and my grandmother's recipes, it was novel and unique. If you're coming from the Midwest or even from Southern California and never experienced Mexican food that way.
Yeah,
this
authentic
was,
Mexican
Yeah, this
food.
is it. This is somebody who was from Mexico cooking authentic recipes, using the same techniques that she did as a girl all the way growing up, learning how to cook, and now sharing it with a new audience and a new customer that had never experienced that before.
Yeah.
So it was, can you imagine that?
Apparently you had a pretty big influence on Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how you might have inspired Taco Bell to become Taco Bell?
Yeah, the rumor, the story, I guess the oral tradition that I've learned is we had a hamburger stand across the street called Bell's Burgers. And that was operated by Glenn Bell.
Sure.
So
Glenn Bell of Taco Bell
Taco
fame.
Bell fame, yeah, absolutely. He was also a customer of Mitla Café. He would sit at the front counter. He would order tacos, essentially try to deconstruct and understand what made them tick. My grandparents didn't have any qualms about saying, hey, come into the kitchen and we'll show you. We know you cook burgers, but do you want to learn how to make this item?
Yeah.
And so he obliged and went into the kitchen. They showed him, like, this is our technique. And it's the same technique we use now. It's fresh product. It's fresh meat. Some secret things that I won't tell you.
Okay. Yeah, no.
And then our toppings were iceberg lettuce, tomatoes, cheddar cheese. That's something that was readily available and easy to find here, and maybe not as traditional as an ingredient my grandmother used to use back home. But something struck a chord with Glenn Bell, and he decided he was going to start making that. So when his burger stand closed, he tried a couple taco restaurants, ultimately landing on the one that carried his name, Taco Bell. And so from there, his ability to take what we did on a per order basis and crafted, he made it more mass produced.
Sure.
Made it a little bit more efficient and turned it into the fast food giant that we know now.
Yeah.
It's a unique history in San Bernardino. We have the first McDonald's.
Yeah.
The first was Der Wiener Schnitzel at the time, or Wiener Schnitzel. And the Taco Bell connection also created Del Taco and Baker's, which is a local chain. And so there's quite a food backstory and history, especially when it comes to fast food in San Bernardino. So it was us influencing it. It was my grandmother's recipe, which struck a chord with someone and now continues to strike a chord across the world. So while it's not exactly the same,
Right.
It got people talking about it.
Do you feel overall is the sense that you get is pride of that, of the influence that you have over such a successful, huge company?
Yeah, I really am. I wish my grandmother had known the
Oh,
impact she would have had.
yeah,
She passed in 1981.
yeah,
I don't even know if she would have knew that Taco Bell existed at that point. She
uh-huh,
was very insulated in her part of the world. And I think for her, she would probably be most proud that people enjoyed what she did
yeah.
and people enjoyed her recipes and that somebody found it good enough to try and copy it and to make other people enjoy it as well. But yeah, that's the most part. That's what I'm proud of. I'm proud of my grandmother. Right?
Yeah. And also, you're saying, your grandmother started as a taco stand and then you built, and this sort of
Right.
corner front area was the original spot. And then you've expanded here. You could talk about a neon sign being good advertising, but I think also a packed restaurant and a line out
Yeah.
the door is something that is going to bring people in more than anything else.
Absolutely. This is a family gathering spot. It feels like home. It's loud in here. When it gets full, it's like being in your grandmother's kitchen. It's like being at a family gathering. It's the same way we've always felt, right? You should walk in feeling like you're coming into a family member's house.
Family is such a big part of this. There's a wall out here with just pictures all over it. And you said it's all family and it goes generations. And there's such a nice familial vibe in here.
I love when a customer will kind of interact with another customer, say, "Oh, you should try this," and they'll give their own recommendations, or you'll see them reach over, "What are you eating?" And those are the great interactions you see at a restaurant. It's a gathering spot, right?
Yeah.
It's a spot where you're supposed to feel comfortable.
You're right here on old Route 66,
Right.
and there was a time when the freeway system came in and traffic got diverted, and I imagine that wasn't easy for the restaurant, and probably not easy for the neighborhood. Can you speak to that at all?
The early 1960s, this was still traveled pretty heavily in terms of Route 66 and road traffic. But when the interstate system became part of how people navigated the country, the exits all went towards downtown San Bernardino. We're on the west side of San Bernardino, which is the opposite end of how the traffic was being diverted. So that was the first time we've had to lose a main artery of people driving by. We think of the movie Cars and, how that kind of scene where they're reflecting on what downtown used to look like, or the old small town used to look like. That was us. We lost a couple of our major employers. The railroad closed for a time. We lost a local Air Force base, Norton Air Force Base, that was closed in the 90s. And so starting in the 60s, that downturn really, really hit us. And so there were so many things that taught us. But at the same time, we knew that there was precedent. We knew that there was history of this community being able to support and this community needing kind of a foundation and a business that not only wanted to stay in business, but believed in the community to the point where we weren't going to move or, try to be more successful somewhere else. We were always been part of this community, and we felt it was important to stay here.
Well, let's talk about your customers. I feel like a business like yours is nothing without your customers.
Yeah.
I imagine you have so many regulars that come here.
We have customers on our walls, their pictures, people have been coming here forever. But, when you get to celebrate some of these milestones, these occasions, and sometimes it's not a happy occasion, but people still celebrate with us and have fond memories. Those are the things that we don't take for granted. That's one of the things that keeps us open and remembering what we do and why we started this. Because those people have a place to be and a place to gather all the time. You'll probably hear this, people would call and say, "Let's go to Mitla's." We'll refer to frequently as Mitla's, and you'll get a gathering of your family and you'll be here.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, that's one of the happiest occasions I have. When I come in on a busy day, I'm going to see multiple customers that I know who've been coming here for years. I'll probably see a few family members who are here eating. And it's very much a blurred line between the two, because when we're all here, I think somebody else has this slogan, but we are all family. And it does feel like I'm an extension of my grandmother's home.
What happens if it's your birthday here?
We're gonna sing.
You're gonna sing.
We're gonna sing.
Does everyone come? Do all
all the servers come in. There's the traditional birthday song.
Yeah.
There's a little cha-cha-cha mixed in there.
Great.
And it is purposely off key, and it is non-threatening. Anybody could sing along and not feel like you're being shown up whatsoever.
Yeah. What are some favorite dishes? What are your marquee items here?
We're known for our tacos. That's what put us on the map.
Yeah.
One of my favorite. It's one of the most popular items, but we have a lot of really good dishes. Any of our soups, if you came in for breakfast and ordered a bowl of menudo, you would be extremely satisfied if that's your cup of tea or cup of menudo, as it were. Our huevos rancheros, all of our breakfast dishes are amazing. There's days I'll actually pick up the menu and just hope I get inspired on which dish I want
Right.
that day.
Like, so you mix it up. So.
I do. I like having our daily specials. We mix it up a bit. I can at any point have the number 10 though.
Okay.
And if I'm coming in, I'm like, I don't know what I want, but I know if I get the number 10, it's going to be awesome. It's 3 ground beef tacos, our original tacos.
Yeah.
And I'll slather it with our sauce. We have a couple different sauces. One that comes out with the chips, and another one that's more of a secret recipe that's for the tacos and all of our other dishes. And I will just slather it. And I'll sit there with my chips and salsa, glass of iced tea, and I'm satisfied.
Number 10.
Yeah.
Can't go
10,
wrong.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations for sort of carrying on the tradition and keeping this place going.
We appreciate the visit, and you're welcome back anytime.
All right. Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
After refueling at the Mitla Café, it's time to embark on the last leg of our Route 66 journey. From San Bernardino, we head west towards LA, over the Colorado Street Bridge, and on to our final destination. I'm here on the Santa Monica Pier at the end of Route 66 sign. This is actually one of 3 ends of Route 66 signs you can find here in California. The official end of the Mother Road is at the corner of Lincoln and Olympic Boulevards, but it felt fitting to finish our journey here at the beach, right in my backyard. We've trekked over 300 miles, talked with 3 fantastic guests, and taken one otherworldly detour. 100 years and Route 66 is still going strong. We hope we've inspired you to celebrate the Centennial in 2026 by taking a Route 66 trip of your own. Thanks for coming along with us here at California Now. Oh, gotta go. My ride's here. This is California Now.